Hello friends, and welcome to our May reset routine. We are getting our lives organized for this new month ahead. I want to tackle most of our usual things in this video, so planning / organizing, life admin type things. We'll obviously do the usual book review and TBR. Last month I did not do my budget breakdown, but I do want to do that this month because I'm very interested in seeing how much I've spent. So I might as well put together March and April and do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison of my category spending for each of those 2 months. My deep cleaning areas of the house for this month are actually the bedrooms and the laundry, and that's quite a few categories because it includes like our master bedroom, this study room, the spare room, hunter's room, and then the laundry. So that's like 5 rooms. So what I figured that I might do is, rather than including that sort of like deep cleaning motivation in this reset routine video, I will do that in a separate clean with me video, maybe next week or whatever. And instead I'll just have some around the house kind of reset. I want to do like a little bit of an outside reset as well. And I'll show you that in this video. A lot of things happening, so grab yourself a cuppa and let's get into it. We are going to start off with our usual planning, and in last month's reset routine video I shared how I loved these big desk planners, but I was upset because my one was going to run out. It finished in June, and then when I was at Aldi doing that week's grocery shop, I happened to find this brand new one. So I now have all of the months for the rest of the year and can use this to plan out and schedule all of my videos. And that is even more necessary than normal now because, little announcement, I have started up a second YouTube channel, and when I told Robin about this, she straight away said, "Is it about books?" And I'm like, Robin, you know the vibe around here. It is. It's called Our Little Library, and it is a low stimulation, high value, read aloud story time channel for children. So I do weekly children's books, read alouds, and it's just a good vibe over there. So if you have any small children or you know people with small children, please feel free to share my new channel so that I can grow my audience over there and be able to hopefully create a love of reading in the next generation, which is definitely what I try to do with Hunter.
Somehow I just never learned. In the back of the schoolyard, where we used to play hide and seek.
Yesterday I took the things off these shelves and gave them a good wipe out. So today I want to get the vacuum cleaner, take everything out of these cupboards and drawers and give those a clean as well.
Look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just wait. Wait for better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the...
Tomorrow I'm going to do a grocery shop. Not going to do a full one, but we definitely need to stock up on a few essentials in the fridge. So while it's like looking rather sparse and sad, I'm going to take everything out and give it a good clean.
Now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. Wait for our home to show on the horizon. Soon we'll be there. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore when we can't read the sky. We just sail with the wind that we've got. And when we're drowning in doubt, just keep on believing. We are dreamers of the shore.
Usually when I say, oh, it's still dark, son, it's 9 hours. I usually pass straight out. Not this morning. But you can't be perfect for me all the time.
Here's what I've picked up from Bunnings this round, a terracotta pot, which I'm going to put this glorious mum in. It has lovely flowers that I think would be great for cutting. And then another one of these silver sunrise that I need to put in the backyard garden. I am truly so glad that you guys love my book segments because they are my favorite thing in the world. I love talking about books, which is exactly what we are going to do now. So for April, I read 4 books. One of them I've returned to the library, but the other 3 I've got here. So the first one we'll chat about is Mother the Mountain, The Art of Living with Nature by Anastasia and Julia Vanderbilt. They have a YouTube channel. It is truly just like whimsical and motivating and uplifting. So I was kind of hoping that I would get that inspiration from this book as well. Now, the positive thing that I will say about it is that it has these gorgeous like drawings and poetry. It's got artwork throughout, it's got like stunning photographs throughout as well, which is one of the reasons why I was able to move the rating up a little bit. But in terms of the actual written content, it kind of let me down. Now, don't get me wrong, it was written very well, very beautifully, it was articulate. I feel like they overdone it quite a lot when it came to the figurative language. Like, it was a lot of metaphors and imagery to the point like where you had to concentrate really hard to visualize what was going on. It wasn't an easy read. And the second thing that sort of was a downside for me is it was incredibly repetitive. There was a lot of feeling the connection with nature, symbiotic relationship, reciprocal relationship, in tune with nature. And I am fine with like that message and that like line of imagery and dialogue and whatnot. But the fact that it came up in like every chapter or segment, I feel like we could have just done with it the first time and it did not need to be repeated again and again and again throughout the book. I was also sort of hoping for a little bit more practical insight into their daily lives, the habits and routines on the farm. Like, they do talk about some of these things, but it's a lot more about like listening to nature, as opposed to if you want to embark on this journey yourself, like what are some of the tips and practical strategies that they use to live off grid, you know, earn money, be more sustainable, all of these different things. So I feel like it was really missing out on a lot of that for me. So weighing it up because of the beauty, but then like because it was sort of a letdown, I'm probably going to rate it as a 3.5 out of 5. I feel like if I were, I don't even know if I would go back and read it again necessarily. I think probably the only thing that I would do is go back and flip through the images again and read the poems, because I felt like they were sort of inspiring. You could actually like see something tangible to take away from that and be inspired by creativity and not have to like struggle to figure out what was going on. So that was sort of a bit of a disappointment, sadly. The next one I finished off was Bellbird River Country Choir by Sophie Green. Very much similar sort of vibes, characters, voice, message to Weekends with the Sunshine Gardening Society. I did like that. It wasn't necessarily my typical read. It is very much like character and relationship driven and more dramatic, as opposed to some of the genres and subgenres that I am typically interested in. I feel like it's an easy read. It's like a nice uplifting book. It wasn't necessarily a page turner for me, but if you're someone who does typically like more character based and drama type novels, this would definitely be up your alley. But for me, this is probably going to be similarly a 3.5 out of 5. I would recommend it, but only to people who typically read within that genre. I feel like if you're someone who likes books that I generally select, it may not be necessarily up your alley. The next one, which was also quite a disappointment, was the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Now, I feel like this was very hyped online, and I see a lot of images of this in my book talk and on Pinterest. It is very aesthetically pleasing, and it's kind of marketed as Gilmore Girls vibes, like pumpkin spice fall small town romance. And so I just thought that it would be like a really lovely cozy romance, and it sort of was, but it's kind of like a little bit of a letdown as well. I just feel like everything was just fine. The characters were fine, the storyline was fine, like it wasn't overly riveting. There was like a little bit of charming small town in there. It definitely didn't live up to the Gilmore Girls vibe that I was hoping for. And I think one thing that she really missed out on in this is that the town of Dream Harbor should have been a main character. And there's only really one point in the story where they're at the fall festival and like everyone's got their stalls out, where she tries to at least capitalize on that. But if you're living in like this small charming kind of New England type Gilmore Girls-esque town, you really need to play up on a lot of the imagery and description around that town to create the cozy vibes. And it almost could have been set anywhere. It really didn't create that atmosphere. So I feel like that was a little bit of a letdown, and the romance between the two characters happened too suddenly. Like it was a slow burn in the sense that, you know, they weren't sure if they were going to be together or whatever, but it's like they saw each other and instantly liked each other, and I don't know that that is necessarily realistic. I feel like there should have been a bit more banter or friendship or something happening, building to create like even more of that intensity leading up to it. So yeah, a little bit of a letdown. I'm probably going to rate this similarly as like a 3.5. It was fine, it was cozy, there was some good vibes in there, but a lot left to be desired as well. But thankfully, there is a book that redeemed things for me in April, which is great. You can't have everything be like a little bit of a letdown. And for me, that was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I reserved it and borrowed it from the library. I've learned my lesson because with the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I bought this and I bought the 2 sequels prior to reading this. So I wanted to have a taster of that one first before I like bought into the series, but very thankfully, I loved it. I feel like it had everything going on. It was your romantasy. There were stakes. They were kind of high stakes, but it was sort of cozy romantasy in the sense that there wasn't like super dark kind of frightening elements happening. The pacing was great. There was some sort of complication or danger almost every turn, so it kept you hooked throughout the entire book. I love the world building, the setting. You move between like 2 almost different worlds of sorts, one being like more heavily like fantasy and fairy tale realm than the other. The characters were interesting, unique. There's like a lot of drama and kind of conflict going on between the 2 characters. You've got the fates, you've got prophecy. I loved it. I found it fantastic. I feel like if you're someone who is heavily into fantasy, particularly high fantasy, you'll probably find it quite juvenile, but I did recommend it to my mum, and as someone who is like delving into the fantasy genre, for me it ticked all of the boxes. So I'm going to label it as my second 5-star book of the year. So leading on from that high note, because I was raving all about it, my mum very kindly actually purchased a copy of that book for myself, but she is currently reading it, and then she subsequently bought the 2nd and 3rd book for me. So I didn't even bother putting this title in the TBR jar. I just knew that straight away I wanted to select this as my, well, one of my May reads. It is The Ballad of Never After. It is the sequel. The main character is Evangeline Fox, and I almost don't even want to give like an overview of this book, because I just typed up the first book, and in order for me to tell you kind of where we're at in this book, I would have to give a lot of spoilers from the first book. But safe to say, we ended on quite a cliffhanger. There's still a lot of danger and uncertainty lurking in Evangeline's future. And I'm very interested to see what transpires in this book. So very excited for that one. And then I did let the TBR jar select my other two. Now, because I have got 3, I probably won't add in a library book in there. I had spotted the 3rd book in the Emily Wilde series down at my library, but I might just need to wait until later to add that to the mix. So the first one the TBR selected for me is Barefoot. It's by Ellen Hildebrand. This one I picked up maybe a couple of months ago at the thrift shop. We've got 3 women, Vicky, Brenda, and Melanie. The 3 women need all the help Nantucket can offer. Brenda has just lost her job. Vicky's been diagnosed with cancer and is facing months of treatment. Melanie, who's been struggling for years to have a baby, has just discovered that she is pregnant and that her husband is having an affair. But the women soon find life in a cramped cottage with only 1 bathroom, not quite the ideal they imagined. Salvation comes in the form of Josh, home from college for the summer and looking for work. Josh quickly becomes part of the chaotic household, acting as childminder and confidant, helping the women, but also dividing them as their feelings for him start to grow beyond friendship. Oh my gosh. So we've got a bit of a love triangle or square happening here. Originally, as I started reading this, I was thinking very much like Bellbird River Country Choir, but set on Nantucket. But I think the fact that we've got this love square going on will add a lot more conflict and complexity to the storyline. So excited about that. Definitely more of a romance / drama, which is good because we've got a nice balance between fantasy and romance there. And then the 3rd one, which offers like something completely different altogether, is Rooted in Wonder, Nurturing Your Family's Faith Through God's Creation by Erin Linham. And this one says, for a generation whose eyes are constantly trained on screens, encountering nature at all is increasingly difficult, much less seeing what it reveals about God. How can parents help children re-engage with the natural world that is so full of amazement, creativity, and love? With practical sections that look at flora and fauna, water and sky throughout the lens of the Bible, and activities to integrate faith and the natural world, Rooted in Wonder equips parents to cultivate an unshakable faith within their kids. Through the art of play, the drive of discovery, and the awe of adventure, children will gain a sense of wonder in their creator that will last a lifetime. And obviously, as a mother, I find this particularly interesting, but also just as an individual who is going on more of a faith journey at the moment and trying to connect deeper with my spirituality, I think that this will be great to help inspire and motivate me on a daily basis, and to get out in nature as well. This is probably going to be the least enthusiastic budget overview ever, only for the fact that I have now filmed it 3 times. But nevertheless, here we are. We're talking about my March and April spendings, because I didn't track this or like talk about this in my last reset routine. So for the category of groceries, we've got $790 for March and $916 for April. Now, March probably would have been like $200 extra, so about $990 or a little bit less than that, because Hunter and I went down the coast with my parents and I gave Dave our weekly grocery money to do the shop that week. So it just didn't come up in my little NetBank overview. Utilities, we had $238 for March and $508 for April, because in April I had my water bill, but both of those would also have included electricity, internet, and phone. So there's just not really much you can do about that. I'm pretty happy with my weekly groceries as well. So those 2 categories are looking great. Groceries particularly, because if I look at these 2 months in comparison to last year pretty much every month was $1,000 or more. So the fact that I'm getting under $1,000 for the month means that my 200 weekly dollar limit is actually working. So yay me. For eating out, I've got $95 for March, which would have included our trip down the coast as well, and then $77 for April. And I thought, well, that's quite a lot actually, because we don't like eat out, we don't get takeaway, I don't go to cafes, I don't buy takeaway coffees, anything like that. How do I get that much? But if like we're going up to my parents' house or whatever, and Dave's with us, we might call into the bottle shop and just pick up a little 4-pack of beer for him. And so usually that's on my card, so it will come into that category and that total. Shopping, we had $273 for March, which is quite a bit actually, but we significantly reduced that for April at $56. So I'm really happy with the decrease there, especially considering I'm doing a low buy. Like that's kind of the point, to not spend money on things. Home, we had $25 for March and $53 for April, and kind of similar to the beer situation. If we go to Bunnings and like I want to buy like a new plant for the garden or a bag of soil or compost or whatever, sometimes I might just buy that on my card, even though it's technically landscaping cost, and we have our own like specific landscaping account where we put savings towards for yard type things. I might just buy things sometimes, and I probably could be like tallying together all the landscaping stuff, but honestly it would be such a nightmare to do, because Dave will just go to Bunnings like every now and then and just pick up like a bag of concrete or some plumber's glue to glue pipes together, or like a piece of this or a bit of that, and it really has added up over time. Like there have been some significant costs, like our driveway, our turf, our concrete sleepers, but then there have been other little bits. So I have not been tracking landscaping at all. And I don't want to know, honestly, I don't want to know. Transport, we had $70 for March, $75 for April, pretty consistent there. It looks like I'm only filling up my car tank once a month, which is great, especially considering how expensive that is. Entertainment for March, $68. I think that probably includes some things from our trip down the coast, like we went to a couple of breweries. And then donations, it was $10 for each month. I donate to Canteen at the start of each month. Health, we had $0 for March and $125 for April, and I thought that was quite expensive because I only did one doctor's visit, but I got an $80, I think it was, Medicare rebate, so I can actually decrease that. So I'm really happy with my monthly totals for both March and April. April was a little bit more, but I think that our water bill significantly played into that. But I'm loving that my eating out, my shopping categories were both less. So I'm very happy, and hopefully I can continue to decrease eating out, shopping, home, entertainment, and health even, and have those be significantly less for next month. But that's a little bit of a budget wrap up, and that's also a wrap up of this video. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me as we reset for May, and hopefully it motivated and inspired you to get organized for this month as well. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I upload new videos every single week. With that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys.